Ah, what is all the fuss about, says the grand old Dame Britannia. Don't you know that we want out, says the grand old Dame Britannia. We are leaving the EU, and after that what will we do? We haven't got a bloody clue, says the grand old Dame Britannia. In this divorce from the EU, says the grand old Dame Britannia, we need a leader strong and true, says the grand old Dame Britannia. Now who will steer us through this lot? Boris, he has lost the plot. Theresa May, or maybe not, says the grand old Dame Britannia. You'll want to knock a pound off me, says the grand old Dame Britannia, for the European economy, says the grand old Dame Britannia. But first I'll pay an IOU, I'll cough up every pound that's due to Northern Ireland and the DU. Who? Says the grand old Dame Britannia. Oh, Arlene Foster, you're my friend, says the grand old Dame Britannia. We thought our hopes were at an end, says the grand old Dame Britannia. You came like Superwoman in a flash and rescued us from a terrible crash. Ah, never mind that old cash for ash, says the grand old Dame Britannia. I'll soon be back to my old tricks, says the grand old Dame Britannia. Handcuffs, blindfolds, hoods and whips, says the grand old Dame Britannia. For those who play the Fenian card, we'll bring back the border guards. They want it soft, I like it hard, says the grand old Dame Britannia. But where is this damn border to be, says the grand old Dame Britannia? Out in the middle of the Irish Sea, says the grand old Dame Britannia. But holding on to an ancient grudge, Arlene Foster would not budge. So all we got in the end was a fudge, says the grand old Dame Britannia. And as for this old backstop plan, says the grand old Dame Britannia, let Europe run with it if they can, says the grand old Dame Britannia. We will not be sore oppressed by any Franco-German pest. We'll take 'em out with a suicide vest, says the grand old Dame Britannia. We once were a proud and a glorious nation, says the grand old Dame Britannia, but now we face humiliation, says the grand old Dame Britannia. To Europe went Theresa May, she thought the Brits would still hold sway. But she couldn't get the better of Barnier, says the grand old Dame Britannia. The Irish are a troublesome race, says the grand old Dame Britannia. They just don't know their rightful place, says the grand old Dame Britannia. Now they've Europe on their side as well, and taken a lead from old Cromwell. They're sending us to a special place in hell, says the grand old Dame Britannia. Now, Arlene, I'm surprised at you, says the grand old Dame Britannia. I thought that you'd be loyal and true, says the grand old Dame Britannia. But I'm having to chuck you out of my bed and crawl in beside Jeremy instead. Oh, who'd have ever thought I'd lie down with a red, says the grand old Dame Britannia. Things are getting more and more unstable, says the grand old Dame Britannia,
and to reach agreement we are not able,
says the grand old Dame Britannia. So like Nigel Farage and the old UKIP,
we will keep a stiff upper lip
as we plunge like lemmings o'er the cliff, says the grand old Dame Britannia.